Hello everyone, it is The Sassy Show. I'm your host Bethany, and today I'm joined by the one and only Roxanne Murray, who is a renowned MS and disability rights activist, speaking up proudly and loudly for all the things that need to change in society, as well as giving us a beautiful sprinkle of sassiness through your stylist fashionista modelling knowledge. Roxy, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. We actually met when you were doing a panel discussion.
Yes, we did.
At the Fetish and Kink Summit.
Yeah, that was a fun day.
It was a beautiful day. You taught me so much in that conversation around a lot of the topics we're going to be talking today, but mostly around accessibility and pleasure.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite subjects.
Rightly so. In the nature of sassiness, I thought we'd start with some quickfire questions.
All right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, honey. Are you a PJ person, or is it more about nudity?
More nudity. I don't really wear PJs to bed.
Oh, delicious. Me neither.
No. Why?
Let it breathe. Yeah, why?
Your vagina needs to breathe.
It does.
It really does. So let it breathe.
Let it breathe. Especially everything needs to breathe, really, doesn't it?
I mean, as soon as I get home, I'm like, most things need to come off. But when I get into my bed, like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, just the sheets. Just the dreaminess. Feet. Sassy or nasty?
Okay, so I used to hate feet. Like, I used to hate them so much. But it was my own feet, essentially. But I've learned to love feet, and I now go all the time, get my nails done and stuff. And now I think sassy, sexy, cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah, cool. How about someone pleasuring your feet?
I'm ticklish as fuck, so
Okay.
that's hard for me. But I'm not against it anymore. But it's because I have more foot confidence, you know? So the more confident you feel, the more you're like, you know what, get them in your mouth, it's fine.
I love that, actually. That's such a true... Whereas as someone who likes receiving feet on me,
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I say that? Like, in my mouth. But actually, sometimes the dodgier the foot, the better the situation.
Oh.
Because I'm like, I'm going to show that love, like so much love to that foot.
So you send the love out into the universe. Fair enough. I get that.
Porn or your imagination, Roxy?
So I don't find myself reaching for porn as much as I used to. So I do use my imagination more because it's very vivid. And I do like to visualise all the things in my head of all the things I've seen in my life, you know? You visualise things that you've seen, people, emotions, moments. And I also love really old porn. So like 80s porn, like really beautiful lingerie, Italian porn, hairy bushes, like big buxom boobs, gorgeousness.
And there was always a bigger space, I think, for a storyline with that porn. And
yeah, I love a storyline. Now I don't think you get as many storylines. There's like one particular like porn company that I do like, which is from Zex Ashley, which is 4 Chambers.
Ooh.
I think those are delicious, like gorgeously aesthetic, filmed like an amazing movie.
Yeah.
But also
cinematic.
very kinky and sexy. So that's the only porn that I find myself reaching for recently.
Oh, so shout out to 4 Chambers.
Yeah, definitely.
Big fan. Yeah, I was thinking I've definitely seen a beautiful video by them. VHS.
Because it feels, but that's the aesthetic, right? It's a VHS aesthetic.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully like in the mirrored boxes, and yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's just, it's a different erotica. A different world. But yeah, I was thinking with the imagination, does it have to be quite experience led, or can you really go far out and be like, I'm a mermaid on a rock and there's a little tentacle sucking on my toe?
Okay, so I'm not that adventurous, but I like vampires and stuff like that. Ooh. So I will be like, I'm a hot vampire surrounded by other hot vampires, and that will just start where it's going. In a club or a moment or something like that, and that would just get me like, oh, this is nice, and then you kind of want to experience my experience. But yeah, I like horror movies, so I'm probably somewhere in that, which is wild but like dangerously kinky. I love it.
Yeah. Also aesthetically kinky.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it's sort of going
aesthetic
with
and kink has to go. I do like beautiful things. That is probably my fetish, I guess. Beautiful things.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that too. We have so many things that we're going to cover, but before, because we're still in quickfire mode apparently, PDA or private lover?
I'm a private lover.
Gorge.
I just find myself very private. I mean, not that I'm against PDA, but I just find that I don't do it as much as I thought I would, actually.
Which I quite like hearing, because I know that you are a sort of in the pleasure activism world, shout out to Adrienne Marie Brown there, that you are encouraging people to put pleasure at the forefront, but that doesn't always mean that has to be in front of everyone.
Yeah, I think you feel like you have to, and I think that kind of creates a weird feeling inside yourself. You're like, well, if I say that I do advocacy, I must sit in a room and show everyone that I do this. But actually, it's the boundary for myself, and that's not what I want to do. So if I've even had to find in myself being confident in the sense that I don't have to have PDA to prove that what I'm doing is worthy in a space that I occupy.
Yeah. I think even people talking about sex will be like, I don't really have that much sex. I mean,
Seriously, like, we'll talk about it later, but with MS, it does control the narrative.
No, yeah. Keep watching. Keep watching. You have had a very rich and exciting and creative life. I was wondering if we could go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
To understand at what point you realised that all the rules and what people might say in society about what disabilities look like, what fashion looks like, what your body and pleasure can look like. When did all of that start to break down? You thought, actually, I'm going to write my own narrative and do things my own way.
Well, it came a few years after my initial journey with having a disability. Obviously, I was misdiagnosed, and then 8 years later, I finally got diagnosed with MS. At that point, I was still very, very young. And I realised that MS was kind of ruling my universe. I knew that I was a full circle human being. So, like, I just wasn't my disability. I had likes and loves and pleasures. Like, I love fashion. I love, like, art. I love film. I love looking good. And I felt like it was stealing a lot of my joy. And I realised that no one was ever talking about it, and no one was making a change around, well, how do we stay being us or embracing who we are around dealing with having a disability or an illness like MS that's unpredictable and changes daily. So I essentially was like, who am I? And I wrote that down. What makes me up? What are my likes? And what do I want to achieve in life still? Like, what if I live 5 years or 50 years, what does that look like? And I realised, like, I still wanted pleasure. I still want to look good. I still want to feel the way I felt. And to do that, I have to create allies with myself, with my community, but also with the people, unfortunately, that are in power, like the medical industry and pharma, to see how we can actually create change so that everyone can benefit from it, not just me, because eventually I will leave this plane and there'll be people getting diagnosed with MS and other illnesses, and how do we help them not deal with the stuff that I dealt with in my life? So
you were always intentional when you made that decision that you wanted to try and get to the top dogs, as it were, who make the big decisions.
I was angry, and rage is a very, very good way of making you take action. And for me, I was like, absolutely not. Like, I've dealt with 8 years of injustice. I do not want another 8 years of this. I want my pleasure back. I want to feel something inside my body, because I'd come so numb, both sexually, emotionally, and mentally. And I realised other people were dealing with that too, from having conversations, especially with people in the US. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, the UK needs to do better. We act like we're better than the US because we have the NHS and stuff, but actually we're not. How do we create change? How do we make it so no one else is misdiagnosed? And how do we do it so people can live and enjoy their lives outside of disability? Because it came very obvious that people were like, disability, drug, illness, drug, medical appointment, home, okay, that's your life. But what about the things around that give people actual physical joy? I was like, that is actually missing, and it's missing for me. I want it, and by default, doing it for myself kind of meant that I was helping other people.
Yeah. Also, those things that you're mentioning that bring you joy, in a way, does that feel like a form of medicine?
It is therapy. It's good therapy for me. It brings me happiness. And I feel more fulfilled in a space where I felt like it took in a lot from what my initial plan in life was. Weirdly enough, I feel like I've achieved more since having MS and since embracing what that is for me and myself and what I like. But that I'm 37 now, I was 18 then, so I couldn't have told myself that and know that I'd be here today speaking to you in the way I am. I just thought everything was over. So I had to find a new space and a new way of thinking and it just became organic because I always did it with intention of love, and that's the kind of thing I try to ground myself in at all times.
I find that hugely inspiring, the fact that you're able to have that mindset, especially, 18, you're misdiagnosed, 8 years later, then there's this new diagnosis for MS. And I have heard you speak in the past about how actually the racism within the medical sphere is one of the things that makes that even worse. And so if today you're able to change some of the systems, is that something that you're wanting to bring awareness to?
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that affected my own journey was the fact, obviously, being brown. You've got lupus. I didn't have lupus. I didn't have lupus for 8 years. I had MS, but no one knew that brown people had MS or were having MS as much as we actually do. So that wasn't really looked at. It took a fluke incident in a whole other hospital for me to get that. There's also the conversation around our pain as brown people, and especially as black women, how people feel like they experience pain differently. They don't. And then obviously just being queer, brown and disabled, and just being listened to, and people to actually think that what you're saying is how you feel. Because sometimes in the medical industry, when you don't speak that language, you don't always get listened to in the right way. So I had to learn a whole new language to be able to express how I felt in a way that they understood me as much as I understood me. Because I didn't know what MS was. I didn't know what lupus was. I had to learn that. Then I had to learn what my body was going through. Then you had to journal what that is and figure out how much time is this happening. Then you've got to advocate for that in the spaces. And then you've got to see if you're actually being taken seriously. Because what happens is people read things and they're like, well, this is how we're going to treat it, and this is the treatment journey. You're like, yeah, but actually I'm not feeling that, I'm feeling this, and what that's affecting this. I didn't know MS affected my sex life at all because no one ever spoke about it. So when I had those effects, it was like, oh, it's just me. And it was the conversations with the community and learning that language and reading stuff myself that allowed me to understand that whether I was brown or disabled, they just were not taking care of us in the care that we actually deserve, but especially because I was brown.
It's that whole full 360 care of looking at you as a complete person and all those different aspects in the face of all of these biases that people already hold in their minds.
Yeah.
And I do get the impression that sexual drive, libido, how we might feel in relation to our body is something that doesn't come up in conversations in regards to medical health.
No, never.
Yeah, it's something that we're living in every day. So I was wondering if you could go into a bit more detail around those different shifts and how you navigated them.
Well, my first real conversation around sex and MS was with 2 women in America. They were called Myelin and Melanin Podcast, and we just spoke about our lives, and we realised, just having joke and cracking joke, that we were doing the same thing. It was just stupid things like MS makes your bladder urgency ridiculous. So I will get in my car, drive 30 minutes on the road and be like, I need to pee again, but I've just peed again. I peed before I left the house, and I need to pee again. It was how does that interrupt your sex life? And we'd have those conversations between us. And we were yeah. And it was oh my God, me too. And we're having this conversation, then we'd make jokes of well, there's people that pay you for it. I
was going to say.
All these things that can happen, right? But that's because you've normalised it. You found the joy, you found the funny, you found the power, if you want to use it. And you've gone through that kind of situation. And then I realised that I wasn't feeling sensation, or I was feeling too much sensation. Well, no one's talking to me about that. So it was through those conversations of us speaking about dating and MS and the hypersensitivity, lack sensitivity, what that looks like. What do you do when you really want to have sex, but you're so tired you can't even move? How do you grant permission for someone to have sex with you if you've gone non-verbal? These conversations were happening, and I was learning, but it was also contributing to other people learning in those conversations. And that helped empower me to realise, oh my God, there's a whole thing here that no one's discussing. And it's important because wellness and joy and happiness in your nervous system, because MS is a nervous system illness, it affects your brain and your nervous system. These things will help or hinder me depending on my knowledge around them. So I've had to learn to empower myself with that knowledge and then share it. And then in that, I've realised more people come to me and they're well, me too. And it doesn't matter, gender, sexuality, race, everyone's dealing with it that has MS. And people look young. If you're 18 and you're dealing with that, you think it's yourself, and you don't always go out and be like, oh yeah, so MS has affected my sex life. Like, a lot of people don't do that regardless of an illness. And then if the medical people are not even letting you know this, and you're having to look at the charities, but the charities is not always the first thing you see. You have to ask the question on the search engine to find the information, and it's only so limited. And then people were saying when they did ask for help, either they were met with like embarrassment, or I don't know how to help you, or sent to the most basic of like avenues for sex help, but you need like actual specific sex help. It's not just sexual health. Yeah. It's specific to do with like your body, your nervous system, your brain, the lesions in it. Like, there has to be like tailored like sexual health for MS, which thankfully there is coming through. And I've done like a lot of work with people to create services and to feed in services to help people with MS. But like I said, like, I'm 18 years in my MS journey, and it was only started like 2 years ago.
Wow, that says a lot as well. So with those developments, what would be your aim, do you think, in the next 10 years?
I just generally just don't want anyone to feel like embarrassed about their bodies and what they're dealing with. I don't want people to lose joy because they have an MS diagnosis or a disability diagnosis in general, even outside of MS. I want people to think that sexual health is part of wellness, and to know that it is part of your wellness. Like, every time I have an orgasm, I feel great. That's helpful. Yeah. And it helps me understand my body. Like, the one thing about having an illness like MS, like, your sensations, your body changes daily. So you have to really be internal with yourself. So it's about getting to know yourself. And pleasure is part of that. But if we're told, like, we're not told about what we're experiencing, and you start feeling things, you tend to disconnect from your body at points. And that's not helpful for yourself. And I just think it will be good for people to have that information and the services integrated in every day, and the nurses to have the training that they require, because a lot of them do want to help, but they're like, I don't know where to start, and no one's helping me know. So that's what I want to kind of achieve with that.
If someone's a partner to someone with MS, when you talked about the sensations that change in the body, is that something that would be a good conversation, maybe daily, to be like, are you in a touching mood? Are you needing softer fabrics? Is it, we want to be in water today? I don't know.
It depends on the people, and yourself, right? It depends on what you feel comfortable with. It is about learning. The same way you have to go into a hospital appointment with a notebook of like what you'll be dealing with, you need to know yourself. So I think it always starts with you without a partner, figuring out like what your touch places are, like where your sensation levels are with yourself on a baseline. And then when you introduce other people into that, whether it's one person or multiple people, then you need to feel the same way you create a safe word, right? You need to be like, I have a safe word, or a word that says like, I don't want that, or you kind of set the precedent for yourself. But it will change. Make it a safe space, I'd say, as a partner. Like, encourage people to speak to you, but also have the emotional intelligence to know if it's not the right time. Yeah. Because it's an emotional thing to feel your body, like, changing constantly.
When you're talking about everything right now, it feels like you're very well versed, and you have this deeper understanding of it on a very individual basis, because also you're an advocate for a lot of disabilities, all disabled rights. So obviously you're thinking about every particular person and what's nuanced to them. But I was wondering what might have come up as the biggest challenge in general when you've been facing these topics of wanting to implement change, talking to people who have power.
They want to listen to diverse voices and diversity in general. Like, it's still a constant battle. Like, disability is so white. It's like one of my friends' taglines, because when people talk about disability, if you go on TV and stuff, 90% of the time it's a white face. Currently there's a conversation around the Beyonce concert with a blind black woman. I think they're a woman, I don't know their pronouns personally. And that's like for the first time in a long time that I've seen a brown disabled face on television, right? So a lot of it is like getting to spaces or being allowed to enter spaces where you get to use your voice. Because like, even for social media, you can be really good at social media, you can do exactly the same thing, but your white counterpart a lot of the time will get more interaction than you. And it's not that they're not worthy of it, it's just the fact that like diversity seems to be an issue. Yeah, it's racist. And diverse voices don't kind of get listened to. You don't get invited to the parties, And if they do, they pick the same 3 people. And my thing about diversity is diversity needs to be diverse. So if I only listen to your voice over and over again, how diverse is that? Like, you need to not just listen to my voice, you need to listen to 100 other people's voices and then change that 100 people to another 100 people. And that's how you get like a consensus of actually what people need in creating change. There will be voices of like a lot of people because not everyone is confident in talking. I get that. That's what it is. An advocate is there to feed back. But if you're not letting diverse disabled advocates in the room, you're only still getting white disabled people's voices at the front and centre, and that's an issue.
Because what they don't experience is the additional barrier of the racism that exists.
And the intersectionality. So like they'll go, one of my friends is a really amazing advocate. They're from South Asian background, fantastic. But that's a South Asian person's voice that deals with one certain disability. Then there's a black guy, he's a black guy, there's another disability. But where's the queer people's voices? Where's the mixed race people's voices? Where's the South American voice? Where's the Muslim person's voice? Like, you need to constantly diversify that so that you change your knowledge and we all learn together. And I think that's a bit of an issue. I don't have the solution other than, like, I always say, like, if someone asks me to do something, I'll say, yeah, okay, cool, but I've also got this person that also you probably should talk to at some point, because they would actually be a really good insight. They live in this experience and I can't speak for them. I can only tell you what people have told me.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot of people do feel more confident to share? Because you were mentioning how you were finding community, especially in the US, online, that was helping you. So there are a lot of people coming from different backgrounds who get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I think what it is, when you're visible, visibility is a key, right? So when you see someone that looks like you feel more confident in being you and speaking to people that look like you. I say it all the time when I do conversations with like pharma or medical things, like sometimes the barrier to entry to care or to getting community insights is you're sending the wrong person to speak to people. People are not want to be open and honest. If you don't represent anything they represent, why am I telling you this? Like,
yeah, where's the trust?
Where's the trust? There is no trust because there's no historical trust, right? So sometimes people want to speak to people that remind them of themselves. They can see themselves in. They see like the actual authentic joy and the want and the love behind it, rather than someone that's just like, oh, we need some stats. Great, okay, but what does that mean? Like, these are honest, open conversations with people because you're being visible what you deal with. It's the beauty of social media regardless. It's like people being like, this is what I deal with. So I'm going, me too. And then having an open, honest conversation. That's so much more therapeutic than someone being like, oh, you can help me with this study. And because you know what it's for. Like, you're not getting that personal connection. And personal connection's a massive thing when creating community or the change that happened in my own life in my medical journey.
To actually feel like you're listened to. When you mentioned if it's someone from a Muslim background, I'm even thinking how religion, culture, family setup, all of these things change how comfortable and nuanced an experience will be, and how most of the time we live our lives through our own lens, which means we lack the knowledge of what it's like. And if you're not someone who's consciously going out to try to understand cultural differences and respect them and work with them, then yeah, it's massively flawed.
It is absolutely flawed. And it's not because people don't, like, I don't always, like, I meet people and they go, yeah, but I actually do care. Like, I know, but there's things that you don't understand. Lived experience is so important when having conversations with people. It's better that you have someone that comes from that background that is open and honest and hopefully like intersectional, that can speak to someone because they understand what that is in real time to be Muslim or to be queer or to be black, because they actually experience that. You cannot read a book and tell me that you understand. Like, I can understand that you've read the book and I appreciate that you're an ally and you want to read the book. It's the same way you can't say two black women's experience are exactly the same. They have similarities. But there's so many different things that make up people's like actual reality, and that's where like the world of privilege comes from, right? Your intersections make up how you experience the world. There are similarities for being black or being mixed race or being queer that we sometimes all experience regardless, but there's other things that make up that experience. So you cannot just ask one black person or one white Irish person or one queer person and make them speak for the whole community that they are in, because it doesn't make sense.
And it was sort of, it's an additional flaw. And actually it sounds it reminds me how lazy it is. You know, there's a laziness to a lot of people doing tokenistic behaviour, and then also not respecting the needs of the people. If it is a medical study or it's research or it's one-to-one care, it's like you need to be really present and aware of what that person's needs are.
Just ask them. It's like the first thing, just ask someone. And if they're not like confident, even asking them, they might not give you the answer the first time, but you might give them something to go home and think about. And maybe next time you see them, they might be more confident in answering that question. But people forget just to ask, or they'll ask the person with you. That happens to a lot of disabled people, where like say we were together, they'd be like, oh, what do they need? And you're like, but they're right there and they can tell you, but you don't speak for them. No, they don't speak for someone that's in the wheelchair. They don't speak for me. We can speak for ourselves unless we actually are non-verbal. But even then, there's other ways to get our needs and our access needs across, because there's other ways of communicating with people, the same way we do it with different languages.
Yeah. God, that's such a huge one. I'm just thinking how often it is that you'll see people ask the carer. It's like, why aren't you asking the individual?
Yeah, because they just don't. It's like the trust of disabled people is so strange of people that don't experience disability. And then obviously there's the thing where everyone that has a disability is in a wheelchair, which happens to a lot of places where you try to enter. Like they go, but are you a wheelchair user? I'm like, no, I've got a disability. No, but are you in a wheelchair? Not currently, no. But I have a disability, I need these access needs. Okay, but we only really do this for people in wheelchairs. You're like, I know the sign of a disability is someone in a wheelchair, but actually that's the smallest percentage of disabled people are wheelchair users. So that alone shows you the amount of research and stuff you will even know about disability. So you're dealing with people that either unfortunately not trained, which is not their fault, when they're dealing with access requirements, or the people that act like they're trained, but actually you actually don't know, and that's only like 2% of what you need to know.
Also, that it comes down to that trust again, actually, but the other way around. If someone tells you, I need this support, I'm disabled, straight away support them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd think so, right?
Like,
you would think so. But then for other people, that's why like they make it like, oh, now you've created a problem for them. But I'm trying to find a solution, not create you a problem.
Yeah, the solution for myself to get into this space or to get to where I'm going or the thing that I need.
But it's not easy. It's still not easy to this day. And that's why we need access coordinators in so many spaces, vetting them out, understanding, having conversations about how you make navigating the world essentially easier for people with disabilities, but easier for everyone overall, because when you make it easier for people with disabilities, everyone wins. And people forget that. Like, I mean, cliche, I've said this so many times, but the remote control was made for disabled people.
Was it?
Yeah. So what's the thing happens if you lose remote control? You panic. Everyone panics.
Everyone panics.
But it's made for disabled people, and everyone would not want to leave without their remote control, right? So there's so many things like that have been created for disabled people that everyone loves and uses, like drop curves and mums with prams. Perfect, but create for disabled people, right? These people benefit because of the things that they create for access. Everyone benefits, and people just see it as a disabled problem, but it's not a disabled problem, it's an everybody problem. And
I remember the first time we met, you brought up this point that at every point in someone's life, we will go through a stage where we will also have access needs. Yeah. That's just the natural progression. It
can be as simple as like breaking your foot and using crutches for that. You start going, you go to get on the train, you're like, well, I actually can't even deal with this escalator right now because of the situation, or there's no only one lift, or that lift's broken. Yeah, or I can't do this, or you're trying to get into a cab, but you realise actually it's not quite easy to just get in a cab when you've got all these things going on. Like, or you have a disability yourself eventually, because you don't have to be born with a disability, you can acquire one. Old age happens, or it might not be you directly, but it might be someone that you love and care for that deals with a disability or an illness, and then you start to realise around you, oh my god, the world's really inaccessible, and it is.
Yeah. Roxanne, I'm so grateful for everything that you do, but there is also an extra special oomph about you that I love, which is the fashion, which was a big part of your life and still is a big part of your life, and something that I hope we're going to continue hearing more about. as a stylist, you're just always popping it off. You've got all these gorgeous fabrics, but it's the poses as well, which leads me into this sassy pose part of the interview.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new segment. We're jazzing it up. So I'm wondering, what pose would you pull to someone who's very sexy across the dance floor or the bar or the event space? Because I'm not sure how you feel about dance floors.
I mean, like, so when I'm sexy, I always look bored. I explain it like I'm always like,
oh, it's a bit demure, bored. I love it. Are you a bit of a dom?
I think there's somewhere in me. There's something in me. I think I'm more of a switch. Like I like a bit of both, but I think there's like I've always been told like I have a bit of a resting bitch face, and I always like to smile. It's just not my thing.
Oh.
So I'm a bit more like,
meow, look at that.
with a glass or something, maybe some wine. Or act like I don't see you. I'm very that person. I don't see you.
That's the Aries energy, isn't it? Luminette.
Like, I think you're hot, but I actually don't see you because I want you to see me. So my whole thing is like I do see you, but I don't want you to see me.
It's too cool for school, isn't it?
I try. I'm actually a massive geek, but you said pull a pose, and that's the pose.
That's the pose. I'm getting vampire energy, actually.
I mean, yeah. Submit.
Meow. How about you're in a room full of people giving a talk?
Oh, I'm a very hands person. Like I start doing this.
Italian.
Yeah. Honestly, there's a picture of me from my graduation. I'm like this doing the conversation. I'm like, so it's gonna be like,
ooh, gesticulating.
It's like because I really want you to understand me. You need to understand.
I love that.
Say
It's all
that.
the hands.
Yeah, I talk with my hands.
Lovely hands too.
Thank
Lovely
you.
nails.
That's why you get your nails done, right? Because if not, like, hide those hands for me.
Hide them. I have natural nails, but we don't need to look at them right now. And how about a curious scroller on Instagram?
A curious scroller.
Hands on your page.
They land on my page.
Yeah, they land on your page.
So am I posing for them or what they see when they land on my page?
They're seeing... They've landed on your page.
Well, I'm sitting down. It's very much like cane in hand, in the middle, crossed legs, kind of dominant pose, tits and teeth up, like slightly.
Oh, I love that. Tits and teeth.
Yeah, tits and teeth. Like.
And the bag.
And the bag.
Or
a bag and a good shoe. And always like black flowing clothing in some way or another. Or red, because red's my favourite colour.
Can we talk about fashion for a second?
We can if you want, yeah.
Because before this interview started, you were feeding a few ideas my way about ambitions. I don't know if you want to share them with the audience.
I'm a secret soul, and I think if I share you, then I send my feelings into the universe, and then the universe will send it to someone else. So the universe is going to keep it. We're going to keep it. But we just need more accessible stuff, that's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Sexy stuff.
I was going to say, what does your sexy stuff look like for you?
For me, currently that I own or that I want to own?
It can be a want.
Okay, so I would actually like to be able to get in some latex with ease. That would be helpful. A lot of my stuff, like you can see, like, I love a good mesh. I love mesh on my skin. It's nice. It's good for my sensations. It's light. It's airy. I can breathe in it because I overheat sometimes. You know what it's like when you have sex also, you might overheat. Yeah. Sensual things that feel nice across my body. Soft bras recently I've been into. I do like a bullet bra.
What's a bullet bra?
So it's like a 1950s like Betty Page, you know, a little coney moment. I do love a little bullet bra.
OMG, I love that.
Yeah. And that's like, or like a tight, like I love mesh, latex and shiny things.
Oh, I love that. Latex and being hot is always going to be a bit of a problem.
It is a problem, but I'm realising that you can get smaller and smaller latex pieces. So it can just be an accoutrement rather than a whole outfit, can't it?
Yeah, it could be a little like hand.
Could be a little nipple tassel.
Oh, yeah, that too. I was just thinking like a hand cover, but a nipple sounds a lot more exciting.
Nipple tassel under a bit of mesh.
Yeah.
Cute. Latex thong, pant kind of number. Could happen.
Because there's a lot of items that actually aren't comfortable, aren't size inclusive.
No, hard to get on. Latex skirt, oh my god, that's me fighting my room.
Oh, babe. Yeah. I've never even tried. I'm like, no, I've never done that one. I do like the latex sort of socks that go over the shoes. So it's not a shoe, but it looks like a boot. I've only touched them. I haven't tried them on.
I do love. I love like a latex spat.
Oh, what's a spat?
Like a spat's like very similar to what you're saying, but like they go over the shoe, so you see the heel and stuff. But you do them like a black shoe with a white. It's like is it 1920s? You get the ones with like the buttons on it. Do you remember? Like,
oh yeah,
it's a spat.
That's a spat.
Yeah, it's quite sexy.
Oh my gosh.
It's also an era.
An era, yeah. I'm getting these different eras of you, and then the vampire over the top.
I like movies.
Oh.
There's like things that in movies that have obviously affected my brain. And there are things that I pull out icons from. I'm
thinking that's how a stylish, creative mind works, right? You're constantly sources of inspiration, and you're just melding them together. Yeah. I wish I was more stylisty. It's a real problem for me. I'm like, oh, don't even look at my shoes, guys. Whereas you've got lovely, dandy cowboy boots on.
Thank you.
Very.
They're my faves.
Are they?
They're comfy as well, so it's nice.
Double whammy.
And I can't wear heels anymore, so a cowboy boot gives me the illusion.
Yeah, it's like a little
Cuban heel.
A Cuban heel. It's a Cuban cigar.
Oh, I mean, I quit smoking now, but for an image we could do.
Yeah, for the image with the red wine and the I'm
the
ignoring
spats
you
and the little hat. Yeah, we're there. Next shoe.
Okay, I can't wait. We've heard about a lot of the different things that need to change in society that you are actively advocating for, but I'm wondering if there's one myth that you'd love to bust about the way that society maybe views people with disabilities, sexuality, pleasure, body image, all the stuff.
I'm just going to go back to my old faithful that disabled people are hot as fuck, and you're just going to have to deal with it. We deserve sex, we deserve pleasure, and we're going to get it whether you like it or not, so accept it. Honestly, just there's so many hot people on Instagram you can see. There's not a lie, like they're gorgeous people, and disability doesn't take that away from you.
And I'm realising as you're speaking how much the external mainstream media narrative actually reduces that image.
Oh yeah. We're not like, you don't see disabled people in Love Island. When you do, you'll get a very certain kind of disability. It's never usually overly visual because they don't want you to accept that, like as in sex. Like you don't see a lot of sex disabled people, and when you do, it's like a weird dating show. And it's like predominantly just disabled people. There's no like intersection of non-disabled and disabled people dating. So they don't normalise that. But there's so many of my disabled friends have non-disabled partners.
Right.
And they have some of the sexiest lives we ever see.
Yeah.
But mainstream media doesn't reflect that. And if it does, obviously it will only be in a white lens of a certain kind of thing. And that's the situation. We need something that's going to shake it up, shows a bit more nuances, ebbs and flows of what people are like. Because everyone's different. We're all intersectional in some way, and we should all be celebrated for our beauty, but that's just not the reality of it currently.
Do you think that kink and BDSM is actually something that more people with different disabilities you'd like them to know about?
I mean, I've had this conversation with friends, and some people use BDSM and kink for actual therapy in their disability because you can control pain sensations. When you deal with a lot of pain, you get the choice to control your pain, which is fantastic. Problem is we can't get in a lot of spaces, so yes, other than like hiring a dom or someone to come to your space, or they happen to have a space that's accessible, we can't always go to the clubs and stuff to experience that. So it's not that we don't want to be a part of it and we don't actually think it's helpful or love those spaces or want the education around it. It's a lot of the places that seems to be in, we can't get into, and that's a barrier to entry. So it's a question that can't be answered currently because there's not as many accessible spaces for people to really show their interest. And
yeah, I was sort of wondering how much could be explored at home safely. And you're right, it would be a case of maybe inviting people in, and that is expensive. If you're having a session with someone. To
be able to move around freely, everyone's got different disabilities, different access needs, you need harnesses and stuff like that. Movement, like pillows, like wedge pillows to position people in the right way so not in pain. I know it's like not in pain to create pain, but you know what I mean, like you've got to meet people at where they are, and that's kind of hard. And also I don't know how accessible the information is for people that have disabilities outside of the outsiders and what Tuppy Owens did. You know, R.I.P. Tuppy, amazing person. I don't know where the information is for disabled people to really get that. I know Undress and Disability are doing a lot of work, but is that also work that allows you to find sex workers that can actually help you navigate the fetishes you have? Because disabled people have fetishes like everyone else, but it's like it's a taboo. We're not allowed to talk about them, and to find the spaces that we are welcomed in, or the people that can help us, is still quite difficult.
The one party I'm thinking of is Libby, who runs House of Arcane, and that is it's a sex party for people with disabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Libby's fantastic, absolute icon, and is someone that really, really goes really deep in creating the accessibility, but because they have lived experience, they understand it from the ground up. They have like food, they have sensory rooms, quiet rooms, accessible spaces. They have and it's not cheap to do that, and they do that with their whole heart, so we absolutely appreciate them. But then we need more money to run more of those events. They haven't ran one for a while because there is still a barrier to entry, and a lot of that is money.
Yeah, and I suppose everyone's also going on their own journey of health, and every day is a different day.
Absolutely. And you've got to prioritise yourself in this, and that's something that's hard when you've got a disability, because you get so passionate about doing things. It's hard for everyone regardless of disability, and you forget, I'm actually disabled, and maybe I need to actually sleep and take care of myself once in a while, and maybe think about my own pleasure.
I was wondering that, Roxy, because I know a lot of activists who I've interviewed in the past will talk about this stage of potential burnout. And it's like, how can you make sure that your cup is full before you start giving bits of your cup to other people?
Honestly, it's a constant learning curve. You get so gassed up, and sometimes you get so on a mission that you want to see it to the end, and you don't even take in your own wins. Often you forget to be like, oh, I did that, amazing. You forget. I have to start writing stuff down so that I can look back at it and go, actually, these are the things I did this year, because I forget.
And you do so much.
Because it's so important in your soul sometimes as an advocate, that you kind of try to go through moments even when you know you should rest, and it's bad. We all know it's terrible. And I'm having to book days around my days. So like if I do something now, I go, okay, it's going to take me one day to do it, but I need to book the day around it and the day before. So it becomes a 3-day activity, not a 1-day activity, because the other 2 days are resting and planning days.
Okay. And just going to point out, you also have a job that you do.
I do have a normal, very grateful job. And then I also do other things as well. So yeah, it's just full on, but I mean, I wouldn't ask for any other way. I'm very grateful for it.
I hope that you do feel supported by the community that you have, as well as people who are close to you and nearest and dearest.
For me, I'm more personal. I think it's my nearest and dearest that are the people that I lean on the most and I find the most support from, because they really, really know me. There's no smoke and mirrors, there's no social media faces that people see. They see me at my worst and my best. So these are the people that I lean on, because they know me better than I know myself sometimes. They'll tell me to sit down and stop, and maybe you need to take time. You're doing too much, and I know you want to, but you need to take care of yourself. And those are the people I hold dearest in my heart, because they're the ones that show up when no one else does, and no one else did. You build a community with social media, and that's great, but I suppose I always end up with the people that I know were there before and will be there after.
Damn, that really is like hitting home, because you're right, a lot of these things are virtual, and when it comes to who's going to help me wash today,
yeah, it's that person.
Yeah. When do you feel most confident?
When do I feel most confident? Weirdly, not like this. Like, I love looking good, but sometimes it's in my weirdly boyish, like, lesbian energy that, like, no makeup, just track pants and a jumper, like, with a pair of Converses on, which no one ever sees me like. But, like, I just feel like me. So it's not like it's confident. I just feel like myself. Like, I'm not performing for anyone, I'm not on stage, I'm not talking, I'm just in my own essence, in my own space. Predominantly on a beach would be great, is where I feel most at peace and confidence. And then I will say, I get a weird rush sometimes before I go on stage and do a talk or a conversation. I feel so confident on stage. It's weird, because I thought I would panic when I first started everything, but I just feel so comfortable there. It's really weird. Even to this day, I find it really, like, even I'm saying it, I'm like, really? Is that? But it is how I feel. Like, I like to be up there doing my thing and getting things across. It makes me feel really confident and happy because maybe I just didn't think I would be that person.
Also, it makes me feel like it's you in one of your stages, in one of your elements.
Yeah, I am. I feel, I don't know, I've always been like a ballet kid and like like I always loved to do stuff, but I didn't think talking was going to be my thing. I didn't feel like I was particularly academic as a kid. And then one day I went on stage and started speaking, I was like, oh, I can do this, like, and I enjoy doing this, and I feel really confident doing this. So it's two different levels of confidence. It's like me at my most natural, and then me at my most like empowered, I guess.
Yeah, and kind of staged. I love seeing those different. You could be a Gemini, really, but you're not. No Geminis in this room. So I'm wondering, in relation to your last answer, when do you feel most liberated?
When do I feel most liberated, nails done, paint a cute face, in a cute outfit, like nice bra on, good underwear, like in a museum probably, or having a good meal with a glass of red wine. I just feel like life, like embracing culture makes me feel most liberated, but doing it while I feel beautiful and I feel like in my space. Also, Paris makes me feel very liberated.
I was going to say, you are such a movie.
Thank you.
You're such a little, like, just live in the movie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I try. My partner would be like, she's in her pyjamas most of the time. But when I'm out of my pyjamas, I'm living my movie.
Cultural wonder. What is the next taboo we need to break?
The taboo that I think that we need to break is the fact that people should just be with one person, especially disabled people. I think we need multiple loves and multiple people to love us, and I think we need to break that taboo. Break the taboo that also, God, that's two taboos, but we're getting two taboos today. Is also that non-disabled and disabled people can't date.
Yeah.
And that disabled people don't date other disabled people. There's three taboos. You've got trifecta if you're looking for it and you can see it. But I guess it's that lived experience. If you're not part of a culture or a subculture of people, you kind of don't always see that. So you will see it though, because that's what our job is to do as advocates and advocacy, is to create visibility so people can accept the things that they maybe don't know about and do it in a way that they are educated and understand. They see the beauty of it. It is not dire, like it is the most beautiful thing that you'll see, but I guess mainstream media doesn't show that for you.
Yeah, it shows it through one very dodgy lens.
Yeah, blurry lens, too much Vaseline on that lens.
Wipe it clean. What would you say is your sassy superpower?
My voice.
But also beyond just how it sounds, because it's a very nice voice, what you do with it.
Yeah, what I do with it. I actually think my voice is my superpower, my words, how I speak. It's got me into so many spaces and places. I think no matter what, it's going to be the thing that lasts longer than I will. Yeah, because sometimes I don't have energy, so my voice is like powerful and power, and I think that's my superpower, is my voice and the places I can get it into and the things it does for me. It advocates for me. It can, it can't sing because I'm a terrible singer, but it can sing in its own world, and it just, it just lets me express myself in a way that I never thought I could.
I was going to say, did you at some point feel like you didn't have so much of a voice?
I didn't have a voice that made sense. So, when you're young and you've got anxiety and stuff, you may overtalk, but it's just me, talking nonsense. And then one day I was like, oh my God, actually, you're quite intelligent and you have things to say that are powerful and good, but you never knew how to speak. And I looked at some of the best people in the world and was like, oh, I just need to slow down. And let myself hear myself. And then I started to hear myself, and I was like, actually, wow, this is your superpower. You don't have to be able to run marathons, which I can't do, and, always be gorgeous. One of these things, you can just talk directly to people and let them know that, your voice is your superpower. And if you can't speak, your words can be written, and there's so many things. It's just words, things to express yourself. For me, yeah, it's my voice. I didn't think it would be that.
I love that. Roxy, I'm so grateful for you sharing your voice with us today. Thank you. If people want to find you, where do they need to go?
I am on Instagram as the Multiple Sclerosis Fashionista. I have a website, which is www.themultiplesclerosisfashionista.com. And I do have LinkedIn, but that's a whole other life. So just follow me on Instagram or see my website.
I know, a LinkedIn plug, that would be quite cute. A different world. Thank you so much, honey. I really appreciate
Thank you for having me.
Together. And also, just check out this cane. Can we just look at that? What a rock and roller. Says a lot about your character, I think.
Thank you. Yes, it's a beautiful company.
We should have a play out music.